Didn't even know that. We are officially live, and you heard it right here from Underdog. Just fade whatever these guys say. They've missed their last 6 college picks. LMAO. We've got to sharpen the comments, guys.
I mean, I've had a bad season, but I've actually had like a decent week.
No, I mean,
he's got me.
Yeah. Also, I think my college picks were good on Thursday.
I don't think any of them have been terrible. I'll give everybody that. How's that?
So, good morning to everyone. Bear with Toast at 6:30 a.m. He lives practically in the Philippines.
I think I'd rather live in the Philippines right now. I think it's like afternoon for them. But anyway.
So yeah, we got 19 games, no scoops. So there's just two of them, I should say. And we're going to roll through it. There's a lot of good college basketball on today. And full disclosure, with the NBA, it's got 11 games. And then I got to make the Super Bowl video this afternoon. I haven't looked at anything. So I'm looking forward to tailing some of these guys' bets or fading them if I think their reasoning sucks. So we'll start with the SEC. And we got Alabama.
LSU, yeah.
Yep.
I probably looked so stupid there. I was looking why my mic wasn't working, and then I realized it was unplugged. Sorry.
That'll do it.
I'll start with this one. I expected this line to be a little higher, and I was going to be all over LSU because I felt Bama coming in off getting crushed is going to get some value. We all know they're not very good on the road, but I just thought better team was going to get some value. Didn't really get that. I think this line's actually much lower than I thought it was going to be. Because of that, I'm siding Alabama, and this one's not one of my favorite bets. I'm not crazy about it. I do think they're going to win the game. I thought 8 or 9 was probably the number I had for them winning this game. No, you could put Bama.
Bama, okay.
Yeah, I think you've got better team. Mark Sears is getting called out by his coach in press conferences now. I think this team's going to wake up. They are going to come off. They're coming off obviously getting crushed by a rival. That always helps. I thought it would be a game where we'd get LSU at like plus 10. Didn't get that. It's at 6. So I like Bama.
Question though, how's LSU's? Does anyone have a read on how LSU's perimeter defense? Because Alabama's shooting has been ass on the road. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, and that's part of I think that's part of why the line is what it is. I think that LSU's defense does a lot of good job of being able to cut down on some of those guys that can cut to the rim. And whatnot. So I can understand being on the side of LSU, but I agree with Andy. I think this is a spot for Alabama. Keep in mind, Alabama has played the second strongest schedule in the country, one of those teams that's been tested at all points this year, at home and on the road and on neutrals. I understand they just lost that game to Auburn, but that's a huge game. I think that you can look at both of those teams as bounce-back spots. When they lost, obviously Auburn came back and won that game against Alabama. So LSU is a decent basketball team, and they've been better at home, but I think this is a spot where Alabama kind of gets right. As Andy said, Coach Nate Oates is talking shit about Mark Spears, and I think he's trying to get him going through the media, so I think that works today. I bet Alabama at -6. They're at minus, 7.5 now. So, yeah, I'm confident on the Alabama side.
Underdog said, does anyone know if their Discord is worth it? No. It's not worth it. We do not want you in there. If you're going to lead off and be like, just fade everything they say, trust me, we do not want you in the group.
It's definitely not going to be worth it, I can assure you.
Yeah. Now just stick to what you're doing. So our poll is heavy on Alabama too. God damn, man. I was kind of hoping you guys were going to go LSU.
I thought the number would be higher. That's the only reason. When I first set these up, I was like, this
9.
is. Yeah, I thought it. When I usually look at KenPom because the lines aren't out yet on Thursday. Usually look at KenPom for like a good idea of where the line's going to be. This one was not that. They didn't have that.
I'm putting LSU up for me. Fuck you guys.
There's with 120 games. We talked about this a little bit in that sweet Discord that we have, but Alabama's a good money line parlay piece too. I think. I don't think they lose. If you're worried about laying points with them, I think they're a good place a team that I don't think that loses today.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm on my own LSU island. I don't know if I'm betting this one, though. So if in case you're new to the show, I'm just the host on the college basketball show. I'm an NBA. But I think I've had success fading Alabama in their road spots. We've had success doing that. So absolutely. I'm not bailing on that. Next. Ooh, why is this so off-centered? Here we go. Creighton at Xavier. Oh, Toast was literally just talking about this game. So Toast gave this one out on the website last night at +2, right?
Yeah, and it flipped not too long after, so it looks like.
So you got great CLV, so it'll probably lose.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, I love all these trophies over here. I hope to put another one in the collection. So,
so you would still take Creighton at the -1, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would still take them. Look, I just don't think that Xavier, as much as Xavier has been playing better basketball lately, St. John's has had their problems, DePaul has had their problems, and Villanova's had their problems. The losses in the schedule for, Xavier, Creighton, and UConn, they lost by 7 to this Creighton team on the road, and now they get them at home. I expect it to be a little bit of a closer game. That's why I really jumped on the +2. But I just don't see who Xavier has that's going to cover Creighton and Kalkbrenner on the inside. Baylor Shireman's starting to come into his own a little bit more this year. Creighton on the road, I understand, has been terrible. I mean, Creighton has covered like 2 games in their last 10 or something awful like that. So it's not like I can sit up here with a whole ton of confidence betting Creighton -1.5. But I do think that off of an overtime loss in Providence, keep in mind, Providence is not an easy place to play. It's one of the hardest places in the country to get a road win.
The Discord was pissed at that one. We collectively got crushed on Creighton in that game.
I mean, if you take a look at Creighton, their other road losses, Marquette, UConn, and like I talked about, Providence, Colorado State, not an easy one as well. I think they lost to Villanova. Or no, that was at home, so that doesn't even fit the road narrative. So Creighton does have a couple decent road wins. Obviously, they haven't been covering a lot. I think this is a spot off of 2 losses. We're getting them very, very cheap price.
I agree, and I think there's no way that they choke the same exact short line in back-to-back games, especially against the. I guess Xavier's been playing better though. I think. Andy, someone was talking about that they've been playing better recently, but still,
schedule.
There's no way like on the road in Xavier compares to on the road in Providence, or at least historically it doesn't in the last 5 years, I should say. I'd go Creighton too for the bounce back, and I bet that Creighton Providence game. So I'm going to bet the same amount, get that money back. Andy?
Yeah, I bet this last night too. I thought this was
on Creighton.
Yeah, I liked Creighton last night. I still like it at the 1.5. I think you do mix. Xavier's gotten a much easier schedule. St. John's is not playing particularly well right now. DePaul's obviously an awful team. You get Villanova at home, you should probably win that game, right? But also Creighton, like they've lost their last 2 games, but they've lost by a combined 4 points or 5 points. So like they're playing close games. They lost one in overtime, so they're playing close games. It's not like they're playing awful basketball. They've also put up 98 and 87 in those games. So like they're playing really well. They're getting unlucky at the end of the games. Playing good teams too. Butler's a really tough team. Providence obviously on the road. So like I'm not afraid of this Creighton team right now. I know a lot of people, and I see their like Big East Twitter is going crazy about like, oh, Creighton's not having the season they expected, but sometimes you have to temper your expectations. I think they expected to have 30 like go perfect this year. It's not going to happen. They've had some losses they shouldn't have, but they've looked fine. So
I think when you said the end of the game luck, I think that's a very good point. I think that the end of game luck is only going to come better for them.
Yeah,
because they've been very unlucky.
I like this one guy. He said Sauce gets one haircut. Now he's too good to wear fitted. Oh shit! 57%, 31% Creighton.
You can come into the Discord. You get
it. Boston College on the road at Duke. Surprised you guys chalked this one up. I mean, this seems like such a bullshit game. But I guess if the line's only 12.5, that the gap between these two teams is not quite as extreme as I thought. I mean, if you asked me to just blind handicap this game without following much Boston College basketball, I would guess it'd be closer to 20. So I guess Boston College is showing signs of actually, or is it Duke faltering a little bit?
Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
It's not Duke faltering. I will say they beat Notre Dame by 18 the other day. That game was actually close for a while, I believe, and they wound up pulling away at the end. BC's a solid team. Ken Palm really liked this game. They had it was relatively high on their list, higher than I thought it would be. That's why it was on here. I like the number at 12.5 for BC. I think it's a little high. Duke's good. They're not really crushing teams. Notre Dame, I don't count that. Notre Dame they're not a Power 5 basketball team. They're an awful team right now. They are starting three-star guards in the ACC. Not going to work. So they're really just really bad. BC's played some tight games this year. They just lost by 1 to FSU. It's a pretty good team. So I like
Florida
BC
State
at the
sucks,
points.
dude. Florida
No,
State's
they're
not a pretty
they
good
don't
team.
suck. They don't suck.
Oh my god, bro, they are trash.
That's not true.
Do you agree? Would you take the 12.5? I will say before you go, Toast, that just looking at the pie charts, and obviously these pie charts, take them with a huge grain of salt. But it's showing the actually coming in pretty heavily on Duke. Line hasn't moved. 4 a.m., 12.5. Here we are, 10:40 a.m., still 12.5.
No, I actually like Boston College here. I didn't bet it personally, but they were on my list. They were on my list of, I wonder how many more points we can get. Don't really love the spot in general for Duke. Not that I feel like Wake Forest is some juggernaut, but it is a bigger game for them in the ACC. Boston College, I don't think has been terrible. They're still a top 100 team. I think that's why Ken Pom have it on their list. But some of their losses, I mean, they lost to Clemson. They've lost to Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Wake Forest. I mean, they're losing to teams they should lose to. But at none of those times, they look terrible. I mean, it's a 5-point loss to Virginia Tech, a 1-point loss to Florida State. It was a 10-point loss to Clemson, but that was a double away game or a situation where they had 3 straight away games. So there's lots of things to like about this Boston College team. So, yeah, I would take the points with Boston College if I had to as well.
I just pulled up Duke's schedule. They do have a game in 2 days, so they actually play on Monday night.
Yeah, they play a lot of Monday games. Yeah, I don't know why
against
they do
Wake
that.
Forest,
I don't know
though.
either.
Man, if it was like a top-tier ACC team, I guess I'll put Boston College up because I don't feel strongly enough to disagree with you guys, but
here's the reason that I mentioned that Wake Forest game is because it's North Carolina, Virginia, and then Duke, Wake Forest in the ACC standings. So that's going to matter as far as.
so Wake Forest is a big game for Duke.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
why I
huge.
mentioned it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All
I
right.
thought you were talking shit about Wake because of Hunter Silas. That's why.
No. For some reason, I just thought, well, maybe it's because Wake's football was so ass this year that
They were awful.
It's such a disappointing year. But anyway, the poll is 42%, 35% in favor of Duke. So let me add Duke here to the list. I'm keeping track of who wins the polls so we don't forget.
Touche.
Why is these off center? That's weird. All right, TCU at Iowa State.
Do we even need to talk about it?
I mean, we know what it is. Actually, I think I'm leaning the other way here, if I'm being completely honest. But I want to hear what you guys have to say first. I've been on Iowa State, as you guys know, a bunch of times this year, but I feel like I'm always taking them as dogs. And
This
now,
is true.
And here they are laying 8. Now, if I remember correctly, TCU's got some pretty extreme home away splits, though. They're much better at home, or at least they were as of a couple weeks ago. I don't know if that's still the case. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say first before I put a pick up for me.
So for me, I'm using Iowa State as a parlay piece. I just think I don't really have a hard time fading TCU. It's not really a fade of them, but I think that this Iowa State team is better than I gave them credit for. I've been on the other side of a couple of these games, like the Baylor game, and stuff like that. It just really didn't go my way. But at the same time, this TCU team, like
who are you parlaying them with? Who are you parlaying them with?
Clemson.
Iowa State, Clemson. And what does that the payout come out to?
Plus 103.
Plus 103. All right, go ahead.
But so yeah, on the road, TCU hasn't been terrible. I mean, on the road, against Baylor, they've got wins, and Hawaii. I mean, obviously that's not great. But my point being is that a lot of their good wins have came at home, and a lot of their wins and losses has come in OT as well. So it's just TCU is just not a team that I trust. Iowa State is one of those teams that I just feel like with the way that they play defense is you can trust them with anything, and they're not fantastic on offense, but with Gilbert and Lipsy, they should be fine. I mean, I trust them to score enough. It's just the offense that I trust enough. So Iowa State is #1 team in the conference, turning teams over. So and TCU really has a problem holding on to the ball at times. So I just think this is a really bad matchup for TCU.
Andrew?
Yeah, I agree. I think the line's a little high. I don't love that
too.
number. I don't really get that. But I would side Iowa State home team.
Well, hold on. Before you go, though, I do want to point out this line movement. You can see last night's at 6.5. Pie charts are showing action coming in on TCU. It's now 7.5 or even 8.
I was going to say it's so big, I would lean Iowa State because it feels like the books do not want to get caught with their pants down in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I guess I would
Yeah.
lean that way too. Matt Campbell's a great coach, hell of a coach.
Yeah, Matt Campbell's a great reason. Yeah, the only thing that would worry me is their offense good enough to blow? They basically blow a team out, but
exactly.
I think their defense is just so good that they could shut them down and still score. So
and if they're turning the ball over and they're getting easy transition buckets, then they'll easily win by 10. So yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. But.
All right, cool. We're all leaning Iowa State. Wow, this poll's deadlocked. End poll. Let's see who won this shit. TCU edges them out. So TCU gets a chance. I can almost guarantee that is not going to be in the community parlay, though, because they'd almost lost, and it's a +8 underdog. Next. Man, why are these all off-centered? I'm going to fix that. Big Ten. Illinois on the road, getting 3.5 from Sparty. Is that line too big to lay to Hawkins?
Charts, dude, that's what I've been watching, and and the pie charts just make it even more clear. Like,
so public's gonna be heavy on Michigan State. You think?
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if Andy feels differently than I do, but I would still lean Illinois here. I understand that Sparty is. I mean, if they win, they're going to cover. There's no doubt about that. When Sparty wins, they cover, and I know that they've played. A little bit Sparty. Speaking of Sparty, I know that they've played a little bit better, and they're coming off a win or a game against Minnesota that they probably should have won. But this Illinois team has played really, really well through conference. I mean, they're 8-3, and some of their losses, I bet you could attribute to not having Terrence Shannon. I'm not going to go through all those games, but I will say that Michigan State's a nice step up in class for Illinois, who's been playing Indiana's and Ohio State's and Nebraska's and whatnot. And they're coming off an overtime game. Maybe they don't have a lot of legs, but this Illinois team has been impressive as far as start to finish this year. I mean, some of the losses that they have, against Tennessee, Purdue, Northwestern on the road. I mean, it seems like that's not a terrible loss. I mean, the only terrible loss to me is against Maryland at home, which just seemed like they didn't come to play. And that was sandwiched into the Michigan and Michigan State game. So for me, it's Illinois. I can understand it's an unranked home dog or unranked home favorite or whatnot. But I get it. But for me, I would take the points. If you're going to give me points with the Illini, I'm going to probably take them.
Andy?
Yeah, the other day I said I was all in on Michigan State, and they followed it up, scoring 56 points and losing to Minnesota. So that was a really good call by me. No, I like what you said. I've thought Illinois is a pretty good team that hasn't gotten to really prove it yet. They haven't had their best games in non-conference all turned out to be shitty, right? FAU's been whatever, right? They're kind of a good team, but not great.
So weird.
They have some losses where you're like, what the hell? And Missouri turned out to be an awful basketball team. That was supposed to be a big game for Illinois. So they've just gotten unlucky with their scheduling, while some teams have gotten lucky. So I just think they're better than other. I think they're better than people expect them to be. I think they go on the road. I think they'll win the game. The public being all over Michigan State makes me feel much better about it too, because
I don't know though. The poll's coming in on Illinois, but this poll is not exactly. I'm putting the time of the game right here. Hold on, one sec. Putting the time of the game because people always ask for that, and I went to look and I was like, there you go. So the time of the game is going to be posted right here. It's 2 p.m. Eastern time. This one, college basketball Saturdays, I feel like is the one time where you need the time of the game because they're so scrambled. So Andy, you said you're leaning Illinois, right?
Yeah.
I like you guys like Hawkins though? I don't like Hawkins.
I don't like him, but I do think he's a very good player.
I'm going by what Toast says, man. Back Izzo in the second half of the year.
You're not wrong.
Michigan State. Everyone against me. So they're
probably hit too.
56% to 29% on Illinois. So our community polled heavy towards the Illini. Next. Damn, another one off-centered. Why does he keep doing that? Auburn at Florida. Someone literally just asked for this game.
Yeah.
And actually, Andy, weren't you talking about this game yesterday?
Yeah, this is my favorite game of the day.
Hold on. Let's get the poll up. This is your favorite game of the day. I tailed you the other day on your favorite game of the day, Memphis minus 6.5. It hit.
And they hit barely. They did. Auburn all the way here. I think. Look, I don't have much bias toward Florida basketball. They are what they are. I
you
don't
do, Andy.
think I don't think they are as good as everybody thinks they are. We have seen teams go into Gainesville, I don't know the name of their court. Go into Gainesville and beat them and or cover against them a lot. We saw Kentucky, a better team than Florida. They beat them. Georgia, a better team or a good team, go in and cover. Florida just sleepwalks through some games. You would think they're going to be woken up for this game, but I think Auburn's more woken up for this game. Because everybody's saying this team can't win games on the road. And while it's kind of been proven because they haven't really won a big game on the road, this is the perfect spot for them to just let loose, win this game. They're faster than Florida. They can defend the three well. That's something Florida really relies on with Walter Clayton. So I think the guards are going to be very aggressive in this game. I think Auburn whips them today.
You want to know what sums up the sports betting industry? Like in just one sentence. So SportsCenter was like 7 of 1. He lost 2 bets, and now they're calling him Fraud Center.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like now they're hating on him. SportsCenter, did he put a pick in there? SportsCenter? I didn't see.
I don't know. I can't never see.
So I thought we were going to be on Florida here. To be honest, Toast.
Yeah, we are, and everybody on the website's on Florida at +2.5 as well. So another little bit of CLV trophy at 1.5 now. I just really like this spot for Florida. They're kind of sitting. I think they're kind of on the outside of the bubble looking in. And now we get to fade this Auburn team on the road off of a huge win against Alabama. I just really like the spot for Florida. I definitely think they can win this game. Do I worry about the free throw shooting? Yes, but it has gotten better steadily a little bit over the year. I just think that this is a game that Florida needs to have. I do think that Auburn's the better team, but I think it's a shit spot for them off of the Alabama game and now heading on the road to this Florida team where, like I said, if they win this game, they're probably steadily in the game or in the bubble, trying to dance on Selection Sunday. So there was a tough loss, but again, on the road, beating Kentucky and then at home beating Georgia in overtime. A loss to Tennessee, a loss to Kentucky, and a loss to Ole Miss on the road doesn't really bother me too much. So I think Florida can get it done. I'll take Florida in the points, and it's fucking gross. I hate saying that because I hate everything about Florida, but I think it's the right side.
SportsCenter Iona, and I'm being told in the chat that they're laying 5.5 points. So that's SportsCenter's hammerlock. The reason I thought we were going to be on Florida is fading Auburn off the huge revenge win over Alabama.
Usually I would.
It's like the biggest win of the season for Auburn. That's when you fade them after that. And it's your favorite bet of the day. Your favorite bet of the day.
Just watch. Just watch.
Wait till
we're watching.
The community agrees with Andy there. 54%, 38% in favor of Auburn. So Auburn wins the poll. Oh, man, did I miss a poll? I forgot. I missed a poll.
Yeah, the Illinois-Michigan State game, right?
Oh, Illinois won that.
Yeah.
Good looks. All right. Next. Why are they all off center? That's crazy. Houston at Cincinnati. Cincinnati catching 5 points. Let's see the game time on this. I would imagine this is another 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you. We got to add the game time to the After Effects graphics so they automatically load in here. Put it on the docket. All right, so it looks like Cincinnati's catching 5 points at home here. Houston laying 5. What do you guys think? You going to take the points? It looks like the public's on Houston.
Andy?
I don't love this game. I thought the number was suspicious to me. I think they're way better than 5 points better than Cincinnati, but obviously with the being on the road, I'd side Houston. I think at any point this team could blow anybody out. They're coming off a game where they should have probably covered, but they didn't. Right toward the end, Oklahoma State made a little run. I would side Houston, but I don't love it. This number's sneaky to me. I don't think Cincinnati's 5 points worse than them. I think they're like 10 points, but at home, I guess.
Toast?
I think Houston shouldn't have any problem. I agree with Andy. Felt the line a little bit short. Ken Pom only makes the game 6, so it's not a terrible difference. I will give everybody that Houston has had some trouble on the road. Those teams being Iowa State, we've talked about one of the best defenses in the country. TCU, they lost that game by 1, and they definitely could have won that game. And then the other loss on the road for Houston was at Kansas. We all know what happened in that game. I'm just sorry, but Cincinnati just doesn't fit that bill for me as a team that I'm worried about with this Houston team. They've been dealing with the Big 12 road teams. Cincinnati's not a typical Big 12 powerhouse like they've been used to losing to. I say that jokingly, but yeah, I think Houston kills them today. I really do. This game should be a 10-point game for Houston.
Man, I still just have a bad taste in my mouth from watching that Houston-Kansas game. Like, that was.
Well, you got to get it out because that was Kansas
Bro,
at their absolute highest. Houston
that
at their
guard
absolute
that
worst.
Houston has, Sharp, man, I was so frustrated watching that game. So yeah, I mean,
Jed. Oh, Emmanuel Sharp. Yeah,
Sharp,
yeah, I got you.
Sharp.
Yeah, I got you.
And just like so out of control with the basketball, and when we needed buckets, this man was not finding them. So yeah, I'll put Houston up for me, but I'm just
so you know,
tailing
against
these guys.
Oklahoma State, he came back and scored 16, went 3 for 6.
Oh, sweet! Did he also ball on the Special Olympics squad?
No, he had no turnovers or 2 turnovers. That's all.
Next, Oklahoma State, no way.
I'm just saying.
NC State at Wake. This game's also at 4:00. Wake laying 8 points. So obviously we know they have Duke on deck because we were just talking about that game, and that's on Monday night. So that's like an NBA schedule right there. Game 48 hour, big game, 48 hours from now for Wake Forest. Do you think they sleepwalk through this one?
I do. I wouldn't bet them here today. I think that I'm not really the biggest fan of this NC State team, but I think that they're also coming off of a loss where they probably should have beat Pittsburgh. I understand that Pittsburgh played pretty well in that game. But at the same time, I mean, NC State has decent wins over Miami, and they've already beat this Wake Forest team by 6 earlier in the year at home. So I just really don't like Wake Forest hasn't been playing the way that I thought they would play in conference play. They started in November. They started playing really well, and I thought this team would go. They're 7-4 in conference. They haven't played well on the road. They've played better at home, but they really haven't had a lot of competition at home. The one game that they played really well at home that everybody looks at is Virginia, but like Virginia never got off the bus, so I don't even know how to judge that game. So I think NC State can stay in this game. So yeah, I would take the points with NC State if I had to.
Do you agree with that, Andy?
Yeah, same thing. I think it's
Really?
way too many points for a team. I like this Wake Forest team too. I just think when you have Duke on deck, I mean, that's a major opportunity for Wake Forest. They beat Duke on Monday. They're probably in the tournament. They're becoming a quad 1 team, I think, right now. They're like 31st in the net ranking. So like anybody that's played them is probably feeling pretty good about that. They want them to win. So they hear all that. So you have all that mixed in. They're coming off. They have some momentum. Now they're hosting NC State, but they know they've got Duke on deck. So I think it's just too many points there. Good. I really like this Wake Forest team, and I on Monday I might even have them against Duke to win the game. But I think today they'll sleepwalk a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. I was just looking at it. I like that with Duke on deck. I'd go this way too. Wolfpack, and Wolfpack wins the poll. Did I miss another poll? God, who was last? Oh, Houston. So Houston. NC State. Guys, I promise me keeping this, it'll save us a lot of time for the community parlay. I'll have them all ready. Next. Oh, by the way, yeah. So NC State won the poll.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Miami at a weirdly short line that actually dropped. It was at 4.5, and it's now down to 3.5. Let me run the poll, but before you guys start, I'm on UNC.
Hell yeah.
This is just a classic case of, I guess you want to call it, people trying too hard to be sharp. They've bet this line down to 3.5, but with Miami sucks. No way. It's square because obviously the sharp money's coming in on the other side to bet this number down from 4.5, but no shot. UNC, and I'm betting this one. I don't care if we pulled 95% North Carolina. Clearly someone out there put some group or someone put millions of dollars on Miami. Don't care. North Carolina. Looks like Toast agrees with me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. I last night when I was looking at this, it was 4.5, so I paired them with Texas Tech. But I'm literally on my phone betting UNC right now at 3.5. There's a lot of games this morning for me to look at, but UNC just got embarrassed at home, and I was going to try to find them a way to back them no matter what. I'm not going to try to make excuses for them, but I think the whole situation, there was a look-ahead spot with Duke. They played Duke. Then they had their letdown spot after Duke. All that bullshit is over with. This team has been playing good all year, and this Miami team has been a shell of itself, or at least a shell of itself of the team that we've known the last few years that's done so well in March as well. I will give Miami credit. They've been dealing with some injuries. They've got some guys back, but this North Carolina team's been absolutely on fire all season. I'm not going to let one game change my mind about anything like that. So, yeah, I'm all over North Carolina today.
Someone said definitely play of the day candidate. Let's pump the brakes on that. It's a little too square, to be play of the day. I mean, we're talking about it's going to be a heavy public road favorite, and the line's moving the other way. So definitely not play of the day candidate, but I'm not going to let it scare me off. Oaks is in the comments. He was the guy on here yesterday. Miami actually sold out the building for once, he said. Miami has good guard play, but they suck without Omir on the floor. And Bacon. Yeah, I'm assuming he meant Baycott there. He said Bacon.
No. Oh, Bacon, yeah.
Andrew, do you agree with this?
Yeah. It does not matter what happens the rest of the way. I will not get 38 points against Virginia out of my head. I mean, that when I saw that score, because that game flew by. That game was like an hour and a half, and we were working, so we didn't watch any of that game. And I saw 60-38. I was like, is that a typo? Not only is that's a great Virginia defense, don't get me wrong, but UNC's just as good defensively, and now you're going up against them. I get it's at home, but I want to talk to somebody who bet Miami because I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I would like to know.
Understand your angle.
I'm not seeing it either. Some deep analysis here I want to bring up on the screen. Bacon's gonna sizzle today. All right. So yes, as the guy Bobby who said play of the day candidates, someone responded and said Bobby works for BetMGM.
That's a good one.
85%, 11%. Everyone bet North Carolina. So if you're tailing us here, because it sounds like all three of us are betting this. I definitely am. Just know that if Miami wins, the books are going to clean up. So you are on the heavy public side. Again, not going to let it scare me off. Just know that going into it. We got UCF on the road at Texas Tech. Man, I can't believe Texas Tech didn't cover against Baylor. They were in that entire game, and then at all of a sudden at the end, what was the final score of that game?
Too many to not enough. Bitch.
Oh my God!
What was it?
It was a lucky cover.
What game was
The
it?
Texas Tech Baylor. I took Texas Tech plus 5.5.
It was
I think
79-73 Baylor.
Yeah, and I had Texas Tech plus 5.5. They lost by 6.
Right.
And they were winning for a big chunk of the game. Like that's called I was on the right read, wrong execution.
Folded like a lawn chair.
Toes got lucky. Are you taking the Red Raiders as heavy favorites though?
I paired them with North Carolina, but yeah, I don't think there's a chance in hell they lose this game, personally. Desperation spot for Texas Tech after losing 3 games in a row. It's a nice step down in competition against UCF, a team that it's been decent on the road with a couple nice wins, but they're just 4-5 in conference. And some of those early conference wins are kind of in the rear view for me. UCF doesn't really have an offense that I worry about beating up on this Texas Tech defense. I understand this Texas Tech offense isn't fantastic, but UCF's 13th or 14th in all major categories except for free throws. They can shoot free throws, but I feel like Texas Tech gets back on track and they win this game.
Toast, the cowardly lion, refuses to make a pick against the spread again.
Yo,
Yeah.
Did you hear the Discord? These 2-team parlays are killing it for us. Killing it.
What's the odds on this one?
Plus 107, I think it was.
Plus 107. There we go. Andy.
Yeah, I would take the 7.5 there with Texas Tech. I like this UCF
Wait, you
team
would take the 7?
No, with
you would
Texas
lay
Tech.
them.
Yeah, lay them. My bad. Misspoke there, but I like this UCF team, but he's right. A lot of their best wins are way a month ago plus now. Plus, Texas Tech is desperate. That's a great way to put it. I don't know how they're still an AP top 25 team. Those 3 straight games. I don't think I've ever seen that before. They're barely holding on there at 23rd, but yeah, they're desperate, and desperate teams usually blow teams out like this. So yeah.
All right, I mean, sounds good. I'm not betting this one though, but based on what you guys said, seems like this would be the right side. Texas Tech minus 7.5. Sounds good to me. I'm not betting this. 53%, 33, 53%, 30% in favor of Texas Tech. Next game. Another one where this is just off center. I don't know why that's happening.
Oh yeah,
Gonzaga at Kentucky.
I'm interested to hear what Toast has to say. So he should.
Are you kidding me?
You guys know
He's
me,
I
you know what
need
the
to
bet
hear
is.
it.
he's
If you know me, if you know the bet. If you know me, you know the bet.
Well, he's completely lost faith in his team. He's not even repping the Zags anymore.
This is true. This is also true. How many times do I have to say it, guys? Kentucky home overs. Kentucky home overs. Kentucky home overs. Just keep on betting the fucking Kentucky home overs. You're going to keep on making money. Yeah, Kentucky. Let me get the number 13-2 to the over this year at home. Obviously, they can score with anybody. Defense is going to be an issue. I think both teams score the basketball. I think over 160, anything over 170 is good with me. So this is a bet that I'm going to continue to make. I do think that Gonzaga has a little bit of value on the side, but I don't have any faith in them at this point going on the road into Kentucky. So world's on Kentucky. Hopefully the Zags shock the world, but even if they do, this game's going over. So over for me.
Andy, I want to bet Gonzaga here. Can you help me get there?
Bad.
No, I got Kentucky at 3.5 last night. I'm very happy about it. I love Kentucky here in this spot. I'm not going to take the Vanderbilt game for what it was. I mean, they blew them out, but it is what it is. It's Vanderbilt. But they lost 2 straight home games. Now they lost to Florida and Tennessee, back-to-back home games, so they want to defend their home court. I can tell you right now, Calipari's very angry that their last 2 home games have come with losses. He might be. He's got them definitely. If they weren't already excited for this game, that helped a lot more. I think it's a weird game in the middle of February, but yeah, I love Kentucky here. I think they're just far better, desperate at home. I think Gonzaga's a little too desperate, in my opinion. They need this win so badly. I think they're gonna kind of sleep on this game. So yeah, I like Kentucky.
I will push back on that. Gonzaga doesn't need this game, and I will. The only reason I say that is if they win this game, I don't think it's going to change much as far as if they were to win this game. I don't think you look at Gonzaga and like, oh man, they're 100% a tournament team. I think they're still going to have to.
It helps though. It helps.
I would agree, it would help, but I think they're still going to have to win in Vegas. My problem is I think Kentucky can put up 100 tonight. That's my issue. I don't know if the Zags can do that.
Yeah, so obviously I messed up this graphic. It's Gonzaga plus 5.5. Kentucky minus 5.5. But someone goes in and goes, fade Toast. He's a Gonzaga homer. He didn't even bet the Zag. He didn't bet the Zag.
He bet the over. And his reason for the bet was because
they're
of the
going
home
to get killed,
team.
but take the over.
He didn't even bet the Zags in this one.
Nope.
So I want to bet the Zags, man.
Trust me, if I want to get there too. I think I might throw if it gets to like 6,
I'm doing
6.5.
it. Screw it. Is
I
anyone
think
in the
they can
comments on the Zags? Here you go. Julio, right here. Zags to play. Everyone and their grandmas on UNC. Damn it.
Well,
I was all pumped.
typo, dude.
I was all pumped to have someone on my side. He's got the wrong team. Shit. Zags. Anyone on the Zags? Come on. Zag power. Definitely on Zags. There we go. Dwight, Jake Flint.
Sounds
Man.
like a very reliable, well thought.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Whatever. Zag power.
Oak said
Zag
Kentucky
power.
isn't losing 3 games in a row. Well, I'm not
They don't have to
necessarily.
lose.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying they're going to lose. Give me the Zags, man. Go ahead. Everyone bet Kentucky. I'm on the Zags.
Yeah, I will say I got it at 3.5. At 5.5, it's much different. That feels
wait.
much
I
different to
missed
me.
polls, of course. So Houston, NC State, North Carolina. We need that one because I almost guarantee that's going in the community parlay. Judging by the
You
play.
can get Kentucky 4.5 and 4. There's some 4s popping up now, so it's moving a little bit. It's not as bad.
Okay, I'm all caught up on the polls now.
This game being at 4 o'clock sucks too. I hate
Why?
that that's at 4 o'clock.
Why?
That feels like an 8 o'clock game to me.
What?
should happen.
And schedule maker.
What are you even talking about? How does that feel like an 8 o'clock game? It's a 4 o'clock.
It's Gonzaga, Kentucky.
So? Oh, you mean it feels like an 8 o'clock game? Like you're saying it
Like
should
it should be at 8
Oh,
o'clock.
I misunderstood.
It's not, obviously.
I thought you were saying like, oh, it's so late.
That's what I thought he said too.
Yeah,
I was like, wait,
No.
I misunderstood
that's
what he was
not-
saying.
At all.
Quick glance at this one, and I don't know. I haven't followed Washington State that closely. Why is this line only 3 in Oregon?
because Oregon is weird. I mean, they're off of a win against Washington. They lost to UCLA. I think they kind of got. I mean, I don't want to say they got lucky against USC, but
What? They beat
got,
the shit out of USC, bro. They
really?
beat the
because
shit.
They lost by 9, and USC.
They were up
USC.
like 24 with 8 minutes left. Like the USC came back. I watched that game because
We've had this battle.
I
before.
watched that
They
game
were
because I
blowing
gave
them
out Oregon on the show, and someone was talking shit to me about it. So I watched that game specifically for that. Oregon beat the shit out of them.
It was a 4-point game at half. So let's just put that.
But
to bed.
no, with like 8 minutes left, it was like a 20-point game. And then I think USC finished the game on like a 14-2 run, or 14-0 run, or something like that. To the point where like everybody, they had to put their starters back in. That's why it didn't look
so
like a
the
blowout.
point is that Oregon can't hold the lead, so you can't let them lay them.
All right, take Washington State then. Take Washington State.
A decent team like Washington State, who has been continued to play good basketball since January 10th. One loss on the road in overtime is the only loss for Washington State since January 10th. And they lost. They played this Oregon team at home and lost to them by 5. So I that's the reason why the line is 3. I would side Washington State. That's a super homer pick for me. I do not think that this Oregon basketball team is good. I say this all the time. They're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get with this Oregon team. And it's not like Oregon's playing really good basketball either. So losses to Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and UCLA with wins against Bobby Hurley, and they're slowly but surely fading Arizona State, a USC team that didn't have Isaiah Collier, and a Washington team that's bad. So, yeah, I'll take my Cougars with some points.
And then you at the end of that list, you could add a Washington State team that's also bad.
But when's the last time they just don't lose, though?
Ducks fly together. What
And
the
they
hell's
lose
going
to
on,
as well.
Andy?
Did you hear that?
Yes, we can.
My
hear
mom must have moved the table or something. That was annoying. Right over me too. You want me to be like Prop Beaver?
Yeah, scream at his mother in the middle of a live show. All right, Andy.
I like Oregon. I'm with you. I get it. Washington State is probably the best team they've played in a little while, but I think Oregon, like you said, they could be whatever. They could be the worst team or the best team in the Pac-12 at this point. I think today we'll get a good. I think the end of that Washington game made me feel better about the way they're going to play today. They looked pretty bad at the end of that Washington game. They were up big in that game, and then, like the USC game, blew it toward the end. But I think they'll win it by 4 or 5 here.
This guy said these 3 print money without scoop. Yo, I'm gonna screenshot that comment and send it in our group chat like every day.
Oh, no, that's a good T-shirt.
These 3 print money without scoop. So we pulled heavy on Oregon there, and let me not forget to add it.
Shocker.
Yeah, because it's the right pick, and we've got a bunch of sharps watching. Next up, Baylor at Kansas. Is this a night game? I'm assuming this is probably a night game.
I think it's 6 o'clock.
6
Andy's
o'clock.
the schedule keeper.
It's 6 o'clock.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
big, Andy's a huge schedule guy.
Just the night game.
Yeah, time guy.
I think it's. I'm sorry for wanting an 8 o'clock game that isn't Tennessee, Texas A&M.
He's a huge time guy. All right, so Baylor's catching 8 points here. That's a lot for a Baylor. Well, I personally don't think Baylor's that great, but that's still a lot of points to lay to Baylor.
Yeah,
I would imagine Baylor's kind of a public dog here. Am I crazy?
I'm all over Baylor personally. I think they can win the game. I don't think they will, but I think they can. I think this will be a 2-3 point game. Kansas is really good at home. We saw it Saturday against Houston. They kind of let loose at home finally, but I think Baylor's way too good to be down 7.5. Well, now it's 8-point dogs. That's crazy. I think Baylor's defense is not great. but their offense just makes up for it. Their 3-point shooting is elite, and it's been pretty good on the road this year. They had a little spurt where it wasn't, but it's still been pretty good. So I think they're too good to be this big of underdog.
Toast.
I'm actually on Kansas. I played it at the Open at 6, or maybe it was 6.5. I think it was 6, but I would still play it at 8. I love Baylor. Baylor is one of the teams that it's kind of like a kink for me. Scott Drew, this team is really good, but the fact of the matter is, on the road, the only thing that they've shown me is that they have a away win, at least in Big 12 play, a away win against UCF, who's okay. And then Oklahoma State. And then besides that, you have losses to Kansas State, Texas. It's just really, it really just hasn't been that great for them on the road. And now you're getting this Kansas team that I will give you can be Jekyll and Hyde home and road. But when you see them at home,
but when they're Jekyll.
Yes, when you see them, you saw them against Houston, off a loss against this team. I just really, really like that. So, I forget what the stat is. I'd have to find it, but Scott Drew going into the fog has been really, really bad. I'm trying to find it if I could.
Is the fog what they call Kansas home?
Yeah, Scott Drew 1-14 all time straight up with an average loss of 13.5 points.
1-14 with an average loss of 13.5 points.
I take that with a grain of salt. Baylor was a very bad program when he got there.
Still
the first
bad.
10 years were very bad.
True, but at the same time.
Okay, so what about the recent?
What did Scoop say the other day? This isn't your father's Baylor. That's what I would say. This is the last 5 years has been different.
All right, we've already reached our max on Scoop quotes used on the show.
You're right. I'm
on Kansas too with Toast, man. I was hoping one of these guys would be on Kansas. Definitely a sharp favorite here. With it looking like Baylor's a public dog. Line still moves from 6.5 to 7.5. That game against Houston, man, that was impressive. Now I was frustrated at Houston, but Kansas just wasn't missing shots. They were forcing turnovers. High pressure defense all over the place. They were pressuring on the perimeter and still contesting shots at the basket. They look good. They look real good.
We saw this same thing happen last year as well. Baylor came into Kansas they had lost one game to Texas on the road. Besides that, they've been fantastic. They lost 87-71, completely got blown out. I think the same thing happens here today.
All right, looks like the poll. Wow, this one's close, but it looks like Kansas is going to just edge it. Yep, Kansas wins the poll. There are some people out there that are taking. Baylor was winning the poll early. I think that me Toast taking Baylor might have swayed some votes, and also maybe people fading Andy. Next,
fair.
Fair. All right, Johnny's.
The Johnnies.
Is that guy? Wasn't there someone? I'm guessing not because of the line, but wasn't there someone on Marquette that was hurt recently?
I think they've had guys banged up, but I think they've.
I was going to say,
I thought they were missing someone in their last game. But yeah, Marquette at home, late 7.5. I like betting the Johnnies at home a lot better. What do you guys think?
I lean the Johnnies. I didn't bet them because it seems like they're like a public dog. But
it seems like they're begging you to bet St. John's. With
yeah, exactly, and that's what's bothering me about it. But I do lean that way. I wouldn't lay it with Marquette here. First and foremost, I love using that shot quality model. These teams' actual score was 73-72 the last time they played. Shot quality had the Johnnies winning by 10. I just think that this is a nice desperation spot for the Johnnies who need to not only win, but if they don't win, keep this game close as far as metrics are concerned when coming into March. So I lean with the Johnnies. Like Sauce said, it just feels like they're begging us to take the points here, and I just don't love it. So I didn't bet it, but I do lean their way.
I'm going to put it up for me as well, but I'm not bet. It's just my dad's a St. John's fan. St. John's is seating all the local teams here. So I'm rooting for him to pull the upset off here. But as far as actual betting value, I think Marquette minus 7.5 would probably be the sharp move. But yeah, whatever. I'll put SJU plus 7.5 up for me, but I'm not betting this.
Yeah, I like St. John's at the 7.5. I do think Marquette wins the game, and I have them in a parlay today. Their money line just to juice it a little bit. Because
were you going to share the parlay with the group, or were you just going to keep your secret parlay to yourself?
No, he wasn't. He never did.
He never was. Yeah, like he was not going to do that.
Well, George is included in it.
And I'll be in the trenches taking grenades, and Andy will be posting winners. Like, here, guys, here's a winner. Here's a winner.
It's Georgia plus 1.5, and I'm pretty mad about it because it's now 2.5. It's Marquette money line, Kansas money line because I think Kansas will win the game, but it'll be close. And Georgia Tech plus 1.5.
You know what? Let's put it up. Let's everyone. let's put this up on the board. So hold on. What was that parlay you got? So you got Georgia plus 1.5, Kansas money line,
Marquette money line,
and Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech plus 1.5. That's the reason that it's plus 559 because of that. Georgia Tech somehow underdogs today. Don't really get that. They're playing Louisville, so I didn't get that one. But that's where.
So
Marquette
this is your parlay that you're guaranteeing.
Do you want to say it's a guarantee? Nothing's a guarantee in life, but yeah, that's the one I have.
So that's Andy's parlay that he wasn't going to share with us. By the way, we had to drag it out.
I don't want to get yelled at and laughed at for the Georgia bet because it's probably gonna. I mean, that could be.
Who does Georgia even play? I don't think we have them queued
Arkansas.
up.
We don't have.
Oh, that's why.
That's why. Yeah. I don't know how they're dogs against Arkansas. I don't know
either. I have them on my list to add to VIP. I was hoping that we talked about that one. But you're a coward.
It went up to 2.5 too. I got it at 1.5 last. That was last night that I did that. But no, St. John's is such a confusing team to me because they looked really good early on in Big. I mean, they almost beat UConn in UConn, and that was how they started Big East play. And they looked like they were playing well. Now they've gone on a spell. They were lucky they played DePaul the other day. Everybody beats up on DePaul, so I guess it might have been a get right there. They might have gotten right there. So I think it'll be close, but I don't think they're winning this game.
And one other thing I forgot to mention, Jordan Dingle, who's one of St. John's better players, he didn't play the first time these two teams played, so that's a little bit of an extra little thing for St. John's side as well. So,
someone said Andy's the best capper on the Discord. He doesn't even talk in there.
It's okay.
He just sits there and watches.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, the guy who doesn't talk. Next, we got Oklahoma State at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I threw this in there because it's Bedlam on the basketball court. Come on.
But it's not called Bedlam.
Yes, I believe it is.
Oh, for real? They call it Bedlam?
I believe they call it Bedlam at the basketball court. I could ask my friend who goes there, but I believe that's what they call it.
I have no idea.
Or we could just Google it. Like adults. We don't have to text somebody and ask.
Well, I saw somebody wrote an article and it said, in quotes, Bedlam this Saturday. So, that's what I would assume they're calling it Bedlam.
There's a lot of Bedlams out there. Bedlam at the bank. All kinds of stuff.
I don't see
it's
it.
It's a good B word.
I'm not seeing anything from
Bedlam.
Bedlam.
It's a good B word.
It's Bedlam, man. Just let it lie.
It's not Bedlam.
It's Bedlam. It's Bedlam.
All right, well, if it's Bedlam, then Oklahoma State pulling off the upset again. Back-to-back Bedlam upsets for the Cowboys.
Yep. I don't think they'll win the game, but no, I do think it's at the 12. Oklahoma's a little bit overrated. Oklahoma State's bad, but I think they keep it within 10. Rivalry. Like I said, Oklahoma, I don't love them, so I think they keep it close.
So, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do it. I mean, laying 12.5 points with Oklahoma, I don't know if I'd do it against, a local high school team. I hate
that
Oklahoma.
Oak Hill Academy?
Oak Hill Christian.
Oak Hill
I take 12.5 with Oak Hill Christian against Man, that Instagram video.
Still one of my favorite videos.
Legendary. Oak Hill Christian. So, yeah, I'm on Oklahoma State, too. This actually might be one that I put down a money line for fun. But, actually, I'm looking at the pie charts. It looks like it's very public dog. We're pulling on Oklahoma State, so maybe not. Toast?
I was just about to say, that's the only thing that was holding me off. I noticed that this morning. It seems to be a pretty popular play, but I agree with these guys. I'm just not a big fan of this Oklahoma team in general. And Oklahoma State, I mean, let's just take their last 3 games, hasn't been terrible. I understand they're 1-2, but losing to Kansas and to Houston, both on the road, isn't a terrible loss. That's actually going to help you in the metrics. And beating Kansas State, that's a solid win for them. So I think Oklahoma State can keep it close, but I didn't bet it personally because it seems like it's a pretty public dog. So
Oaks in the comments said Oklahoma's mad overrated, but Oklahoma State couldn't hit 10 free throws in a row to save their lives.
Probably not.
10 free throws in a game. I'm sorry, not in a row.
A lot of colleges can't hit 10.
No, 10 in a game, he said. I misread his quote. All right. Virginia at Florida State. I hope to God none of you guys are taking Florida State.
No, I had Virginia. The reason I put this on here is because Ken Palm had this game at 1 for Virginia, and I was like, there's no way. Florida State's going to struggle to score in this game very, very much. So even at home, they're not a great offensive team. So I think they're going to get locked down pretty badly.
This line, though, is making me think that
the pie charts are also scaring me.
Why is it 1.5?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I don't know how everybody thinks this game's gonna be so close. I think Virginia, people just don't think Virginia's going to be able to even hit 60, and they barely did that the other day. But they don't. People need to get into their head. They don't have to when they're playing Florida State.
Exactly.
Like Florida State, if Miami only scored 38, it's a good chance Florida State's scoring in the 40s because you're not going to replicate 38. But there's a good chance Florida State's finishing this game with a 4 in front of their number. So, is Virginia going to be able to score 50? Probably.
All right, I'll put Virginia up, but dude, shouldn't this be like 6? What the?
If anybody's worried about Virginia's ability to score, keep in mind Louisville scored a fucking 100 on Florida State. So let's just make sure. Let's just pump the brakes here about what we're doing with this Florida State team. So, yeah, I didn't bet this. I would lean Virginia too. It's heavy public, but Florida State hasn't looked good. I mean, their only wins is Boston College and Syracuse. And that Boston College win was a 1-point win, and it definitely could have went the other way for them. So I don't get I don't know why people have this idea that Florida State's still a decent basketball team, but there's some people out there. This Virginia team's defense is for real, and I think that after those back-to-back losses or 2 out of 3 with Notre Dame, NC State, and Wake Forest, this team has just been completely on another level. It just seems like it's really, really hard to score 60 points against this team, like as Andy was alluding to. So, yeah, I'm all over Virginia right now until they give me a reason not to bet this team.
Yeah, well, I put Virginia up too. Someone put 55-49 as a score prediction, and at first I chuckled, thinking they were making a joke, and then it's like, oh, well, actually that's not a bad. That might even be it.
Probably a good guess.
I mean, you're probably going to have under 60 possessions in this game. They're going to slow this game to a crawl. So
Shipley wants to know if we talked about the Lemoyne Merrimack game yet.
I can't say that I had that one queued up.
Virginia makes it to the community parlay voting poll. All right. Next. Indiana, Purdue. This is what people were asking for. Indiana plus 17, Purdue minus 17. I mean, Indiana does have some size.
Weak ass size.
You were literally talking about how good Ware was on this show 10 days ago.
No, I was pointing that out as a point to be made. That doesn't mean that I think that he's good. I think he's going to be in the NBA. Purdue first half for me, minus 10 or minus 9.5. If I had to make the bet in this game, really hard to lay so many points with this Purdue team. That just seems to let their foot off the gas late in games. Yeah, so Purdue's played the hardest schedule in the country. Another one of those teams I like to talk about. Not that Indiana hasn't played a hard schedule either, but they just haven't really. Look, this Indiana team just has a hard time scoring. And we saw these T2s play earlier in the year. Purdue won 87-66. I think it's a similar game tonight. Like I said, I think the first half's better. Purdue has been a much better first half team as far as ATS wise. So I would lean more that way just in case, because again, 17 points is a lot. So, but yeah, I lean Purdue. There's no way I get on Indiana here.
Andy?
I like Purdue.
What the hell's wrong with you guys? You're going to 17.5 for the rivalry game? Is this your first time watching college?
I like the first half. Would you not listen?
Indiana first half money line.
I think you're right. They have size, but I think that size is going to get pushed around. I mean, the thing about Ware is he's good at – he's more agile. He's a small dude.
Have you not seen the movie Hoosiers?
I've seen the movie Hoosiers.
I have.
Do you remember what happened? Do you remember what happened when they were counted out? You remember what happened when Hickory was counted out? Yeah,
I got it.
They won. Indiana.
Ware and Hickory are
it's like these guys have never seen the movie. It's crazy. Indiana plus 17.
It makes me so mad because this is always a rivalry I look forward to every year.
Yeah,
this is India. The fact that this is a 17.5 point line.
Yeah,
Indiana needs to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what? The last time Indiana had a line like this, I took the money line and it was tied with a minute left.
Touche.
Oh, was that? Who was that against?
Illinois, I think.
Illinois. Okay. Yeah.
I think it was 16.5 that game too, and it was 14.5, I believe.
Yeah, it was I remember.
And I took Indiana money line. It was literally tied with a minute left. 48% on Purdue, 27% Indiana, 27% enlightened souls watching the chat.
Hoosier lovers.
They love the movie.
Gene Hackman.
They love and 27% have seen the movie Hoosiers. 27% fans of the show.
And 23% of our viewers think Gene Hackman was robbed of an Oscar.
All right. Wait, I thought this was the last game. I have this one queued up twice. Oh, whoops.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Never mind. No. Hold on. I know how to fix it.
What was the one before that? Oh, yeah. The one before
Tennessee
that.
at Texas A&M. So we're doing this one first, and then we'll do the Arizona-Colorado game. That's the last one. Tennessee on the road, laying 2 points against Texas A&M.
Andy,
Now,
your thoughts?
hold
I want to
on.
hear him first.
We know that
the home away splits for Tennessee's defense are pretty serious. At home, they're much better defense than they are on the road, even though they do say defense travels.
Did nobody watch Tennessee go on the road to Rupp and just crush Kentucky on Saturday? Now you're gonna think
it was like a 7-point game with 2 minutes left.
I told you this on Monday when I came in. I said easily, and they won that game easily. They were winning by double digits the whole time, and it got close toward the end. That's why I hate college basketball sometimes, because you'll get
just take
a team
Tennessee
that's
then.
up 12. No, I'm very heavy on Tennessee. They just went on the road to Rupp, probably the toughest place, maybe second toughest place in the SEC to play, and now you're gonna put them at 1.5 against a team they are far superior than. They are a much better team than Texas A&M. A&M's good, decent guard play. Wade Taylor's gotten back to where he needed to be. Don't care. Tennessee is.
Can you explain this line movement? 3.5, 2.5, 1.5.
Oh, I got it. Everybody likes Texas A&M here. I get it. I don't know why, but everybody's on them. I'm on Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a far better team. They've proved they can win on the road. They have a couple of road wins in the SEC that are pretty good. Yeah, I really like Tennessee here.
Toast.
Liked Texas A&M at the Open a lot more. At this number, I unfortunately lean with Tennessee as well. I just think it's getting to a point where it's getting a little small here. Look, I was all over trying to get to Texas A&M. They've had a little success against Tennessee in the past. Last year, they were able to beat Tennessee 68-63 at home. So I know that they have a little bit of confidence in doing that. Buzz Williams also seems to just usually get his guys up for games like this. I don't have any stats or anything to back that up, but I do trust that Buzz Williams will have his guys ready to go. But at 1.5, I think this is a little bit low. As Andy talked about, if this game was right after the Kentucky game, I can see a little bit of a letdown spot, which they didn't have in the first place against LSU. But if it was, I can see it. But now, fresh out 2 games off of that, I wouldn't worry about that. They have Arkansas on deck. Texas A&M's been really, really decent. They win the games that they're supposed to win. They kind of lose the games they're supposed to lose. I think the Florida win was really good, but at the same time, Florida was coming off of a Kentucky and Georgia overtime wins. Both of those games went to overtime for Florida, so I don't really put too much stock into that. So I just feel like this line's a little bit too low at 1.5. So let's go Vols.
Tamu, Texas A&M. So many things I like to fade here. You got so it's a conference road favorite in Tennessee. The line is dropping, so clearly some sharp money coming in on Texas A&M. You got an offense on the road that's very reliant on one player. Another thing I like to fade. That offense lives and dies with Dalton Connect. Texas A&M playing good defense at home. And Tennessee's defense is, it's elite everywhere. But away from home, not quite as elite. Texas A&M wins. Upset city here. Court getting stormed.
Can't do that in the SEC.
I can see it. I don't hate it.
Why?
Outlawed. School has to pay.
The whole point, but the whole point of storming the court is that we're breaking the rules.
They do heavy security. I'm dead serious. They do heavy security.
What are they going to do? Shoot you?
What happened was South Carolina did it earlier in the year against Kentucky. They got fined $250K as a school. They had to pay it to Kentucky. Every SEC school said we are now going to beef up security. They don't want to be paying other schools. It's not going to happen.
It happens.
They're also not going to win the game.
They're storming the court. They're going to find a way to get on that court.
I can also assure you not one of those students gives a shit about that $250.
Yeah, is it coming out of their pocket? As if like drunk students in the student section are like,
no, this is gonna cost us money.
let's think this decision through. Like, no, they're fired the fuck up. A&M wins. Tennessee wins the poll handedly.
I always thought court storming was stupid anyway.
Me and Toast were 6th row at Rutgers when they upset when Harper Jr. hit the buzzer beater. Me and Toast were in the 6th row.
I had a story about that. I was supposed to go to that game, but then last minute, my friend and I decided to go to Seton Hall, Texas instead because we said it would be a better game. Really good. That was me. I said it would be a better game. Really good job.
You missed the game of the year.
Oh, one of the coolest moments maybe in college basketball the last like 5 years. Could have been there. Went to
The
Seton Hall,
fact that
Texas.
Purdue was #1 was like so cool, and the fact that that was the first time I had ever met Sauce. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was
time.
wild. We went like it was spur of the moment too.
Yeah,
we were just
we
like
didn't even have
working on the
plans that
computer,
day.
and we were like,
Yeah.
Toast was on his computer and his laptop, and he was like, "How close is Rutgers to here?" And I was like 30 minutes. And he was like, "Let's go." It was a spur of the moment, and we saw the game of the year.
Yeah, you know how memorable that was. I don't even remember who won the Seton Hall, Texas game.
Seton Hall probably.
You're probably right.
All right.
Game of the night.
So I know everyone is taking Colorado here, fading Arizona off the double overtime game. I'm saying bullshit. This line's way too
I
low.
think.
Wildcats. Arizona's going to dominate Colorado on the glass, even though I know Colorado's pretty good. And what was the final score of the Colorado-Arizona State game? Arizona State covered, right?
It ended within 12, so it was 12, I believe. That was the.
Oh, so they landed on 12? Yeah. Arizona, definitely. I think the idea that Arizona's coming off this crazy double overtime game is screwing this line up. Arizona should be favored. I'm taking the Wildcats.
Andy?
Yep, ruined my. That was what I was gonna say. That I had that already, and then I saw the line and I was like, nope, I'm on Arizona. I was gonna be heavy on Colorado too if they were underdogs, but no, ridiculous. I could not believe when I saw Arizona was underdogs in a game right now, and Colorado's not even that great of a team, so I thought it was crazy. I wish I could go to Colorado here, but I think Arizona's gonna win the game. So.
Toast?
Yeah. So a couple of reasons, a couple of things where I'm at. I'm going to be on Arizona as well. I said as soon as the Arizona Leather game that I knew I was going to be, as soon as they beat Utah, I figured I was going to be on Colorado. I kind of knew it was public. I didn't think it was going to be like this. So you have Arizona and probably, I guess, the worst spot you could possibly be in. I guess that's why the line is what it is. They're in their mountain trip, so they're playing up in the elevations, Salt Lake City, Utah, all that stuff like that, those two games. Not to mention they're on back-to-back road games where you've seen them have trouble in the past against their loss with Stanford against that. It's a spot that I've talked about multiple times on this show. You also have a little trend that's going around. Colorado at home in Pac-12 play when an opponent has 3 days or fewer rest, very similar to what I talk about. 44-21-1 ATS, that's almost 70%. So everything is going Colorado's way. I just feel like it's a little bit too much. Shaw Quality Model has this as an easy win for Arizona. Arizona has shown that they can play on the road, and this is the type of game where Arizona, I feel like, can show and shut everybody up and say, hey, we're a real team. We're an Elite Eight, Final Four type of team. These are the type of games that you have to win to show that. I think they actually do that here today. So, yeah, I'm going to take the 1.5 with Arizona. I'm actually going to take them on the money line.
Yeah, I'll take the money line, too. I'll take the money line, too.
But, yeah, I think this is the time they finally get that road win. Yeah, so like I tell you guys, Thursday nights in Corvallis, I don't really fault them for that. It's not easy Thursday nights in Corvallis. You're going to hear that a lot from me. So you take that away, they've been playing pretty damn well. So I'll take my chances with the fucking world on Colorado.
Yeah. Arizona, baby.
I get the spot for Colorado. I really do. I'm not faulting anybody for taking them. I 100% get it.
Arizona wins the poll. All right. So let's get the community parlay rolling. All right. Alabama, money line. Creighton, money line. Duke, money line. TCU, money line. First leg, the community parlay. I got to take a piss real quick. Toast, you want to share like any of the mid-majors that you like today?
Yep, I got you. So I'll just go down my list really quick of a couple that I like for sure. Let's go. Oh, App State and the Bonnies both play at home. If you parlay them, it should be like 120. I like Robert Morris. I got him at +2. They're 1.5 now, so that's good. I like Arkansas State against Iowa. They just had a nice little cover for me. I'm going to back them here against Iowa. And then Chicago State in a nice little sleepy spot against South Carolina State, a team that they really don't really want to. South Carolina State has no reason in this game.
Yeah.
So I think that Chicago State wins that one. Stetson +3 I guarantee it's not +3 anymore. I'm sure it's lower. It's +1.5 now. But I do like Stetson. Ball State I like as well to get the job done on the road at Texas State. You want to look at their team total, you could do that too. But lots of things and value on the board of teams that you can definitely take a look at. That's for sure. So I wish I could see the comments, but I don't really see them. Anybody asking for anything? I guess just
I can't see them either. It's always so small to me, and they're kind of blurry.
I'm opening it up on my phone.
The only one that I like today is I like Charleston to cover against Drexel. That was my big mid-major today.
I missed the Colorado State Drexel game.
Charleston Drexel game. Come on.
Alan M. I've bet Grand Canyon a couple times with like somewhat success a little bit. Usually like to play them at home. That's for sure.
Community parlay. First leg is Alabama money line.
14's a lot though.
All right. Tied are in the community parlay. Next up. Now we got to narrow it down to 16. So if there's I might leave out a huge favorite. Illinois money line.
I agree, Chad. I think Akron has a shot to win that game too.
Houston money line, NC State money line. All right, cast your votes. BJ asking about the NBA show. Honestly, probably not, because after this, I actually have to get the Super Bowl video out. It's time. I waited long enough. It's time to get the Super Bowl video out. And also, I don't know if you guys have peeped the NBA slate today. There's a ton of injury reports. The NBA is in full bullshit mode right now.
All-star mode.
And I've had 8 of the last 9 NBA nights have been green, so I've been winning money. I'm not complaining. It's just it's tough. As far as there's 11 games on, I should be able to load up. I have 2 bets I like so far. I got to take a look at. No. No, I like the Bulls.
I wasn't even joking. I just saw them getting 16. I know they've been covering a lot.
Well, that's the side I'd be on, and I'll probably throw a few dollars on that. But I like the Bulls tonight. I missed the 5.5. Bulls plus 5.5. You're holding value. I think the Bulls win outright. Looks like Houston is the second leg.
Okay, I gotta write this down. I got NBA pulled up like an idiot.
Yes, Alabama, Houston are the first 2 legs. Now we have North Carolina, Texas Tech, Kentucky. Wait, who's Kentucky playing again?
Gonzaga.
Oh, yeah, we got to put that in there. And then Oregon. All right, cast your votes. No, Chad, it's different, though. It's just right now because it's right before the All-Star break. The NBA has been really good with injury reports this year. It's been a lot better.
I agree, Chad.
This is North Carolina by a landslide. We can stop the poll now. Alabama, Houston,
Go ahead,
North Carolina, and then let's get the last poll going, which is Kansas. Kansas plays Kansas. We're not going to do St. John's. We're not going to do Oklahoma State. We'll do Virginia, Tennessee, and Arizona. There we go. Perfect. Finish right on there. All right. What's the last leg of this community parlay?
And then whoever was asking about those guys about High Point, yeah, the line just keeps on going up. It was like 2 last night when I went to bed. I think I saw 5s popping up now. So Gardner-Webb just lost to Presbyterian, who's like one of the worst teams in the country. So I don't know. I guess you could say that there's a bounce back for them. But High Point's been really good this year. They're like a top 120 team in the country. So and they're coming off a loss as well. So I'd lean High Point, but it's not something that I love.
Actually, wow, it looks like Kansas is going to be the last one. Yeah, it's by a landslide.
Yeah.
So it's Kansas.
I don't really see one that I think's not.
Alabama, Houston, North Carolina, Kansas. Toast?
287.
Ooh, a chalky one. All right, so
Those ones have hit.
yeah, the chalky ones have hit. Alabama, Houston, North Carolina, Kansas, plus 287. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Almost had 900 people in there at one point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, guys. Seriously.
We'll be back. Let's see. I'm going to upload a Super Bowl video later today. And then tomorrow, I'm going to my brother's house. He's having a party. So tomorrow, I won't be live at all. So the next time you see me, I'll be watching the Super Bowl video. But the next time you see me live will be Monday. Everyone, enjoy the weekend, man. A lot of sports to bet on. Hopefully, we stay running hot like we have been. Remember to bet responsibly. And I'll be in the Discord if you need me. Later.